Have you heard of Eastman's Preserve? Well, you have now. My name's Sean Larson, real estate broker here in Middle Tennessee and the 38th Florida market. And Eastman's Preserve is one of Brentwood's newest communities. It's located right between Franklin and Brentwood. It's going to have about 25 luxury homes in it. Behind me, 6,000 square feet of luxury living, and it is new construction and it is ready for an owner now. We're going to take a tour of it, show you everything about it. So let's go. As we take a look at the outside, just a little information about Eastman's Preserve. It is in Brentwood. It's a luxury community that's going to have 25 homes. It's located just between Brentwood and Franklin, so everything is convenient, ranging from quick access to I-65. Just a few minutes, you're in downtown Franklin, so you have access to all their Main Street events. Brentwood is just a couple minutes down the road, the commercial district. Radnor Lake, the Warner Parks, additional Brentwood parks are just nearby. Look at those beautiful finishes. Got that herringbone brick, the painted brick, gas lantern. Like the dormer detail. And you're going to see upstairs too where that really comes into play with the second level hallway. Isn't that a welcoming entrance? I mean, look at that. Right to that wood door. Got the brass hardware. That is beautiful. Is that not stunning? Look at that foyer. Now, a lot of our foyers in our area tend to be deeper foyers, and so you might have, an office on one side and a dining on the other, but this is like a horizontal layout, and I love the way it presents. Look how bright it is, how wide open it is. Kind of introduces everybody into the living room. Beautiful staircase off to the side. And staircases are something that can, have a lot of different layouts. Sometimes in a foyer, you can have a grand staircase, and that can consume a bit of space. But I love how this is offset, and it's still a feature design of the foyer area. Off to the side here, we've got an office. Really, really good design plan on having this door with glass panels. Now keep in mind, anytime you have an interior door with glass panels, it allows all the light in the home to continue passing through, so it helps keep everything bright. Love the rich colors in here. Beautiful lighting. Have your recessed lights, your auxiliary lights over the built-ins. Really nice rich color. And that really contributes to an office feel as well. Light floors continue in here, helps keep everything bright. Plenty of built-in storage, got cabinets, drawers, your shelving. Anytime I mention built-ins, through this video or any others, that is a custom product. That's not something, that somebody orders and they just install. That is custom built on site. And that can really be a differentiating factor when you're comparing homes. Beautiful office. And I like with the foyer kind of being more of a horizontal design, that it kind of pushes the office a little bit off to the side. I like that. And on the other end of the foyer, see this nice horizontal layout? I love this. This is refreshing. Got a stunning dining room. Look at the windows. Floods the entire room with daylight. Okay, if you've watched my videos, I mentioned magazine shots. You come across an image that is just stunning and it reminds you of something you see in a magazine. That's it right there. Look at that. Tell me that's not on a magazine layout somewhere. Perfect lighting. We talk a lot about lighting fixtures and sizing them for the space and having the right design. And see, this is perfect for the design. It's not a heavy fixture to where it kind of dominates the room. The span is just right. Goes perfectly. Can't get over those windows. Those are just incredible. It just brings so much light in. Now, one thing to consider when you're looking at dining rooms is how many people can easily be seated in a dining room and have ample space for navigation. Now, if you just consider that table, you've got 6 seats there. You could easily stretch to 8, possibly even to 10, and this might even be the perfect room for a round table. You know, a lot of times dining rooms are rectangular, but this one isn't quite square, but it's getting there. So this might be a perfect contender for a round table. The whole room is just stunning. Perfect selections. That is simply a stunning living room in anybody's book. Look at all the features. You have the light floor, you have the natural beams in the ceiling, beautiful fireplace with your wood mantle. It's all flanked with built-ins. You have your auxiliary lighting there. That is beautiful. We often talk about floor plans and how so many people like open floor plans. This one's got a perfect balance. Everybody stays connected, but I like how you have the cased opening between the spaces. Now, a lot of times we see homes where the cased opening, you know, the trim is actually the trim color, sometimes even the wall color, if it's a monotone look. But I like how they carried the natural finish, you know, that matches the beams right through to the cased opening. And, you know, it continues into the kitchen where, you know, you have good natural tones on the island, even the stools there, and then it all coordinates with how they chose to finish the front of the refrigerator. That is stunning. I really, really like these glass fronted cabinets. You know, it's kind of a blend between trendy and it kind of gives me a little vibe of vintage in there. Because, you know, you'll see some older homes or cottages and they kind of have that feel to it where they have the glass fronted storage. It's kind of in a long door like that. Now, it's pretty common to put glass fronts on the upper cabinets that are near the ceiling and they put lights in it. But when you put them like this, kind of lower as your main cabinets, it has a little bit of a vintage look. Love the hardware. We're actually circling around. So this is the butler's pantry that is leading from the kitchen to the front dining room. And again, that is on the front wall of the home. Beautiful cabinets. And see, it's nice that they're contrasting with the kitchen cabinets too. And sometimes you can be bold, you know, and put a color in there. Love those panels. Look at that. Like that. Have an ice maker in here below cabinet. Have your mirror tiled. And it's kind of like a vintage mirror too. If you notice, let me get a shot of that for you. It kind of has like the black finish behind it. And that's traditionally a vintage mirror that they do that with. Have your bottle storage. Very, very nice. And again, this is between the kitchen and the dining. So perfect placement while you're entertaining. Have a pass through. And it's not only for service, but it actually just helps with navigation of the home as well. Have your marble countertops. And you know, with all the natural finishes in the kitchen, I like the simplicity of the backsplash too, because it's really easy for all of that to get a little too complicated, and sometimes you just have too much going on in a space, whether it be a kitchen, bathroom, or what have you. And that, you know, that's something where when you're designing and picking finishes, you have to make sure that you are actually making a cohesive, you know, theme or look. You just can't go pick a bunch of favorite things that you like and hope they, you know, kind of meld together. It has to be an intentional decision on what you're selecting. I like how the backsplash is carried all the way to the ceiling there. So the backsplash essentially, makes an accent wall too. Beautiful range. Now, I just happen to like things that look mechanical. So that is awesome. Has the pot filler behind. And for those of you that may have never seen a pot filler, if you have a big spaghetti pot or something like that right here on your cooktop, that is a cold water faucet, and it allows you to just fill your pot right there on the range rather than having to fill it on the sink and carry it over. Have your farm sink right there in the island. Beautiful finishes. And that refrigerator front is just stunning. And that's one of those things where a lot of people will love it, but if you ask them if they would have ever thought about it, they would say no, they would have never thought of doing that with a refrigerator. And that's where having, a creative builder or creative designer and just having the right team overall, no matter who the players are, you just have to have the right team, to really fulfill the vision of a build. I really like that hardware. Kind of has a knurled texture to it. I really like that. As we continue around the kitchen, you have the full-length doors here. And that could be a lot of storage right behind those doors, except for the fact it's actually a scullery. Now, you probably weren't expecting that behind those doors, were you? Look at the prep space. Look at all of the storage. And yes, you even have an auxiliary refrigerator. And just to show you how no space was wasted, look at here, even on the other side of the refrigerator. Look at that, you even have storage and cabinets that wrap the refrigerator. Floor to ceiling. And see, that's vision. When you have people that have foresight to design and think like that, that's just vision right there. Have a dishwasher there, it's cabinet fronted. Trash can further down, it's also cabinet fronted. And I like how everything is very plain. Everything is white, simple subway tile backsplash. Just a really clean presentation, and it's all hidden by these two full-length cabinet doors. We're continuing on the side of the kitchen here. Absolutely love the arched opening. This is kind of what we would, at our house, would call a drop zone. Now, behind all of these doors are virtually lockers. Where all the jackets, backpacks, boots, all of that stuff is stored. And in this case, it's all also enclosed. So you've got drawers and you've got cabinets, and it hides it all away. Small desk makes everything handy from, sometimes you just have that clutter, whether it's bill paying or what have you. Maybe you just need a spot to drop some stuff when you come in. Again, that's what we at our house would call a drop zone. So it's all convenient right here. This is one of the exterior doors on the side of the home, and straight ahead, you have access to the garage. Beautiful garage. And yes, I have an appreciation for garages. They're not all created equal. And sometimes when people are shopping for homes, sometimes they actually don't give the garage enough attention. But you do want to take a look at it. For example, these garage doors are insulated, which plays a big part in a garage. You have a finished floor in here. And if you plan on having any storage in your garage, the depth and dimensions of the garage also matter. So this one has plenty of depth for not only a vehicle, but also storage shelves or anything you might want to put along the wall. So always definitely take a look at the garage as you're viewing homes. We're back in from the garage, coming through the drop zone, viewing this beautiful kitchen again. Thermador appliances, have your microwave in the island there. How convenient is that? Keeps it nice and tidy and out of the way. Look at the view from there, right into the living space. On the other side of the kitchen, another arched way, another exterior to the side of the home, which I love because, if you have all that glass right there, it's letting all the light into the home. Super convenient pantry, additional storage. You've got a drawer stack, marble countertops, and look at all the shelving. You can go to all the big box stores you want right there. Look at all that storage. Straight across the hallway, very conveniently located, you have your laundry, plenty of base cabinet storage, marble countertop. Even in your laundry, you have marble countertops. Super convenient sink. Beautiful. Plenty of storage, your washer dryer hookup. Nice tile flooring. And even the tile flooring, nice natural color, meets your hardwood, blends very well. Very nice. Just off your main living room. Really, really nice sitting area outside. You have your rear porch. And on our way there, I'm just gonna spotlight this hardware. I wish you could feel hardware through a video, but if you ever have grabbed M-Tech hardware, you know it feels differently. It is in a league on its own. It is solid, it feels good, it operates differently, so it is very much worth spotlighting in this video. It is in a league on its own. I wish you could just feel the difference through a video. Herringbone brick. I like that. It contributes totally to the feel that this space is all about. Screened rear porch. You have your fireplace, wood ceiling, fan, recessed lighting. Now this particular home backs up to green space, so there won't be another home behind you at all. So that view is just beautiful every evening. And see, it gives you a screened space, but by the way they've designed the glass panels, see, it allows the daylight to keep flooding into the home. Everybody stays connected. Imagine having the fire out here in the evenings. In Tennessee, you can just about use it all 4 seasons. But whenever somebody says fire and everything, I immediately think of October. October is just one of the best months, in my opinion, here in Tennessee. The leaves are changing colors, the temperatures are just right, everybody's having fires and you smell the wood burning. I love October in Tennessee. So just off to the side here of the living space, you have the primary suite. Has its own short hallway here that kind of disconnects it from everything, which is really, really nice. And this is simply stunning. Vaulted ceiling with beams. Incredible light fixture for the space. Is that not stunning? Windows space just right for bed placement. And there you have the view of the green space behind the home again. Stunning. One thing I like in this home as well, and it may not come across on video, but the entrance hallway to the primary suite is wide. And that may not sound like much, but I tell you, when you walk through it, and you're gonna see the same thing with the hallway upstairs, it is wider than you usually see in homes, and it just has such a good feel to it. Nice natural beams, have your recessed lighting. Beautiful light fixture. primary bathroom, have herringbone tile layout, neutral tones. Love the hardware. Again, has like a vintage look, but it also has like a knurled texture to it. I like that. Independent wall mirrors, each one flanked with sconces. Have your marble countertops, dual sinks. And look at the presentation of the tub. Floor to ceiling tile. I love that. That is simply beautiful. Have your walk-in shower. I like that small tile too. Got hexagons there. Have your wall head, you have your rain head. Love that shower. Beautiful selections. And see, you can tell all through this home, you know, you have the natural finishes, the natural floor, and you can even see how it carries over. You know, it's not full of bold and trendy colors. And a lot of times that's what stands the test of time. You know, because natural tones, those simply don't date because they're natural. I mean, they look good forever. See, look at that right there. That's another magazine shot right there. And by magazine shots, you know, it resembles something you would see in a magazine that's highlighting a home. Look at that right there. That's a magazine shot. Okay, so we spin around. We're into the primary walk-in closet. Look at all the built-ins. Half height hanging, full height hanging, folded clothes storage. All of that is custom, floor to ceiling. It's not a system that they purchased and just bolted in. All of that is custom built right here. Have your dresser drawer stacks. That is beautiful. Can give you another shot of that hardware. I tell you, it is nice hardware. And it's throughout the home too. It's just not like one or two. It's throughout the home. Just to give you some reference, because one of the things that's so great about video, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love still photography, but the cool thing about video or a Matterport system or something like that is it allows you to have relationships of the room. You can kind of feel how the home is laid out room to room. So sometimes in videos I'll catch people up just so they can have reference where we are in the home. So we're back in the main living space. We're going to cut across the foyer where we first entered, and we're moving to the second level of the home. And much like the entrance to the primary suite, I really like how the stairs are wide and the upstairs hallway is wide as well. So on the right, we pass a guest powder. More neutral finishes. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Wide stairs. Iron handrail. Just look how that presents even from here. We're halfway up the stairs. You can see all the way through to the dining across the foyer. I like how open the design is. Even a window on the stair landing halfway just illuminates the staircase, and then you come up and you have that beautiful lighting fixture right there. Now, as we move down this hallway, let me just give you a preview of how incredible this hallway is. Now, on the left, you see those light pools coming. That's from the dormers that we saw on the outside. And each one has a storage closet in between, right here. And I don't know anybody who declines more storage. So look at all the storage you get just in between those dormers there. Now that was a preview of the hallway. I'm going to rewind you just a little bit so we stay continuous on the tour. So we came up the stairs and we're going to duck into the first secondary bedroom. Beautiful. Great tones in the carpet, great design. Now see, if you were having a custom build and you want to select your own carpet, that's one thing. But you also have to understand that there are only about 1 billion different carpet patterns you can select. So it's nice when a designer or a builder has pre-selected and they pick a nice natural tone. It's just perfect and it goes with everything. Love the built-in drawers. That is so cool. Recessed lighting, ceiling fan already in place. Dedicated bathroom. I like that splash of color. It's kind of like a basket weave, and then there's a little bit of like a sage in there. Neutral tones on the vanity. Nice simple hardware there. I like that. Square sink, a little bit of contemporary flair, maybe with the faucets. Your wall hanging mirror. Kind of like a blend, kind of a little bit of a contemporary, yet with the shades on the vanity light. I like that. Let's spin around, give you a shot of the walk-in shower, glass door. Same tile, kind of a basket weave, a little bit of sage carried into the shower. White subway, chrome fixtures. You'll notice here too, how part of the ceiling of it is angled. I like that. You know, that comes into play with the roof design. But I kind of like that in that, you know, sometimes you go into like a vintage home and it might be a historic home or something that was built downtown. And that's just kind of the vibe those had. You know, every once in a while there'd be an angled ceiling. I like that. It kind of had some character to it. Now this would be one of the dormers that you see from the front. Let me just give you a shot of what it looks like across the street. And keep in mind, these are brand new construction. 2 across the street are still in production. They're on their way to being finished. And again, this is Eastman's Preserve. About 25 homes total in the community when it's done. Going into a secondary bedroom. Nice neutral carpet. Walk-in closet, custom built-ins, plenty of hanging, folding clothes. And again, that's not a bolt-on system. That's all custom built here on site. Dedicated bathroom. Hexagons on the tile. I always enjoy seeing what tiles were selected for the bathroom. Nice neutral finishes. Wall mirror. Beautiful. Behind we've got the walk-in shower. Nice white tones. Hexagon tiles on the floor. And then you go to a rectangular subway. Chrome fixtures. Beautiful. Now as we come across, I'm going to show you the door over here because people ask about these occasionally. And again, same really nice hardware. I keep spotlighting the M-Tech hardware. It's just so nice. Okay, the small doors, sometimes they'll be called half-height doors or what have you, regardless of size. Those simply go to attic spaces that need to have access in case there needs to be some sort of repair. Because here in Tennessee, we like intricate roof designs, just not roofs that, you know, are just flat faced. For instance, let me just kind of show you a little bit across the street. Now that's a brand new home. It's under new construction, still being worked on. But you see how it has some dormers, and even the home across the street or next to it, they're different roof designs. Well, each time the roof creates a cavity, you have to be able to access that in need of repair. So in order to do that, sometimes you have those small access doors that give you access to those points. It's as simple as that. Secondary bedroom number 3. Neutral tone carpet. But look at this ceiling. Vaulted, painted beams. Love the light fixture. See, when you go into a vault scenario, you have to kind of expand your light fixture size because you've got that big volume of space up there. And they nailed it. Very, very large secondary bedroom. We go into a walk-in closet, and look at that. Straight through. Can you visualize it? We're going through a shared bathroom, through another secondary bedroom, and then straight into that closet. But look at this bedroom's closet. Plenty of hanging, plenty of storage here. And this is a secondary bedroom. Lots of space. Okay, we're going into a shared bathroom here. You get the tile. Beautiful. Little diamond accent there. Neutral tones on the vanity. Double hanging mirrors. Vanity lights above with shades. Beautiful. Now, see, sometimes a shared bathroom makes total sense because each time you install a bathroom, that's square footage plus the cost of all the components. You've got the tub, the vanity, the sinks, the toilet. So every time you put one of those in, that's added cost. And sometimes it's consuming space in a plan that you would rather spend, somewhere else. You'd rather allocate that space elsewhere. Beautiful built-ins. And so sometimes it makes sense, to do a shared bathroom rather than dedicating a bath to every bedroom. Let's also get a shot of the tub for the shared bathroom. So as we come through the shared bathroom, let me just give you a shot of the rest of it. So we covered the vanity section, and here is the walk-in shower room. Beautiful tile. Glass, you have your chrome. Kind of a warm chrome hardware. I like that. Subway all the way to the ceiling. Beautiful. And see, this is the perfect implementation of a shared bathroom. Plenty of space. Now see, we've been looking at the front side of the hardware, but I like that one little detail. See that push button lock? Very vintage. I like that. So I'm going to give you some reference. We're coming out of secondary bedroom number 4 on the second level. I'm going to show you where this is in reference to the hallway. We had secondary bedroom 3 there. 4 is right behind me. And then we have another hallway that extends into another bonus space that's upstairs. Love this. On the right side here, we have a powder or a half bath that is for guest use. And you usually see half baths close to community spaces. So you have this upstairs bonus room. And so it makes sense to put a powder room there. And look how big this is. This is incredible. And a lot of times, once these rooms reach a certain size, you can segment them into different spaces. So for instance, you have the living space here. You could easily, turn this into a TV space. You've got the window overlooking the backyard. You've got the built-ins. And then as you spin around, so you have plenty of space there. Whether that be for, a pool table, gaming table, or what have you. It's just nice when the spaces are this large that you can actually, segment them without actually having to have a wall there. And it's nice the way it's laid out as well, that each side of this room has the picture windows, so you're flooding the space with light from both sides. Beautiful layout. What I really like about this room and the placement is that you have this hallway that kind of pushes it into its own space. So if you have several activities going on, if there's an increased noise level, all of this helps buffer that. So each segment of the home, isn't interrupted by the other. I love that. So we're heading actually toward the front of the home, just if you want your bearings. And then we turn on this upstairs hallway, and you're actually traveling across the home. I like how the light spills in from those dormers. Isn't that gorgeous? Even the hardwood directional placement, love that. Kind of extends the hallway visually. Brings you right to the stairs. So that was the upper level. We have now come back to the foyer. And everybody always enjoys seeing the living spaces and the kitchens. So let me treat you to another shot of those. Extends out to the screened porch area. And again, these natural finishes are they're just stunning. And it's so, I usually don't like to use the word timeless, but natural finishes somewhat are, because, nature always exists. So we're always in the presence of natural finishes. So when we bring them inside tends to bring on, a timeless look to it. That just feels so good. All the tones, the light floors. Absolutely love what they did with the fridge front. And all of that wraps around, goes through the butler's pantry, and into that gorgeous dining room. Those windows, simply stunning. So much of the exterior just requires so much more design than people think it does. How the walls might be recessed, the number of exterior doors. For instance, ahead we have the overhang porch with the cedar corbels. Here you have one light above each garage door. And see, those are design elements that, all together, they work together to make a package. And people a lot of times don't realize how extensive that is, to come up with a comprehensive look. Love the herringbone brick. And I like that this home layout has multiple side doors. I love that. Even the size windows comes into play when you're doing the design. Size windows, the height, the size of the glass panels, how to landscape it. And look at that herringbone walkway right up to this exterior door too. Is that not welcoming? Love that. Again, have your wood corbels. And you're going to see inside where that really pays off with all that glass. You're going to see how it's just flooded with daylight. Well, I hope you enjoyed that tour. That is 6,000 square feet of luxury living right there. And it is all in Eastman's Preserve. Now, at the time of the video, Eastman's Preserve is one of Brentwood's newest communities. It is right between Franklin and Brentwood, so you have all the conveniences nearby. You have a quick access to I-65. Maybe you want to go downtown, hit a sports event, go to dining. Maybe you need to run to the airport frequently, where I-65 is easily accessible. You can hit downtown Main Street, Franklin, go to all those events. Brentwood's nearby. You have Radnor Lake. You have all the Warner Parks. It's all right here. Now in Eastman's Preserve, it's new construction right now. There are only going to be about 25 homes or so. You have some that are already built. Some lots are sold. So if you think later, you'll say to yourself, we should have bought in there when that community was new. You might want to take a look at it now. Again, it's Eastman's Preserve in Brentwood. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to answer those. Baird Graham is the builder on the homes. He does an amazing job. So if you like what you saw today, it doesn't mean you have to build the same home. If you just like the vision and you like the quality that you saw, we can connect you with Baird. So again, my name is Sean Larson, real estate broker here in Middle Tennessee and the 38 Florida market, and I hope you have a spectacular day.